ESPN's Adam Schefter, thanks to Death Wish Coffee, joining us now. Shefty, I know it's been a busy day. What'd you think of JPP yesterday? What's the word you've been hearing around the league in reaction to his performance?
Look, they came into the game with a league-low 9 sacks. So I thought that he was able to get some pressure, and nobody knew what to expect from him. And I thought he was pretty effective. It looked like when you spoke to people around the league, they said that this would be a situation where they thought his run tackling abilities might be more hindered than his pass rush abilities. And he certainly seemed to be getting some decent pressure on Jameis Winston for his first game back after not going through training camp, not going through a preseason. I thought it was encouraging from his standpoint, from the team standpoint. If you're watching that game, you got to feel pretty encouraged about what you saw.
Encouraging, I like that word.
Yeah, I mean, again, 76% of the defensive snaps. That was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, no, it was a little high, 46 to 59. He makes some money with that, so that's good for him. And it's a situation where, basically, again, I don't think he could have done much better than he did in that first game out. We'll see where he goes from there.
ESPN's Adam Schefter thinks of Death Wish Coffee. What do we know about Ryan Fitzpatrick and his upcoming surgery now on his thumb?
Basically, he'll have to have it after the Jets play Thursday night against Buffalo. And then if he gets it done Friday, which is in 10 days, then he should not be able to miss any time. So that's a good thing for him and them because they're a different team when he's out there, and he thinks he can get it corrected in season, in between weeks, with the Thursday night game, giving him an advantage, and then they go from there.
Shefty, speaking of the Jets, what's going on with Nick Folk, and who's going to kick for them Thursday night?
Well, I know they had Billy Cundiff in today, and they haven't made a decision, so it certainly sounds like Billy Cundiff, the former kicker, is a possibility for that team, and they're going to be signing somebody at some point here to add into that mix.
Shefty, what do you think? Jets-Bills Thursday night. What are we supposed to make of Rex Ryan naming Ike Ancampali the team captain today?
I mean, I just think that's what Rex does. He's typically made a habit of naming players who played for a former team captains in games against that former team. So in a way, you could say that he's not doing anything that he hasn't done in the past, which is exactly his point, I'm sure. On the other hand, you could say here's a guy that literally could have been charged with assault. Geno Smith could have pressed charges. And Rex Ryan sent him a day later, which was a partial reward, and now they're making him a captain, which is, I think, rather insulting to Geno Smith and the New York Jets, not that Rex Ryan cares. So in that regard, it's a little bit distasteful if you were looking at it from that standpoint. But I just think this is what Rex has always done. He's staying in character, and he's not doing anything different than he's done in the past.
What should Bills fan think of Rex so far?
I don't think they really care what to think of him. They just want to win football games, right? And they won yesterday, and they look good. And if they make the playoffs, I think people will love Rex. And if they don't, they'll be a little bit down on him. I mean, that's really what it comes down to in the NFL. What should they think of him? They should think whatever they want of him. But you know what you get with Rex. You get a lot of loud talk, a lot of bravado, a lot of brashness. It sounds great when you're winning. It's not as palatable when you're losing. But as long as they make the postseason, I'm sure everybody will be very happy with him.
ESPN's Adam Schefter, thanks to Death Wish Coffee with Armen and Levack. We're live from the Century House in Latham here to benefit 12-year-old J.P. Honsinger, who has Niemann-Pick disease type C, an incurable disease. It's childhood Alzheimer's, Shefty. So it's a cool event that we love to be a part of, man. Here in Albany, we're looking around right now, Shefty. We have some of you Albany's finest. We got basketball players, football players, coaches. It's a great event, man. And I know you're very involved with a lot of charity events as well. So, obviously it's something here in the Capital Region we love to do when we can.
Yeah, good for you guys. That sounds like a tremendous cause, and our thoughts are with everybody there, and we send them our very best for whatever that's worth.
Adam, thank you. Hey, our boy Dion Lewis of the Patriots here locally, of course, Albany Academy. Bummer news from him today.
I have very disappointing news. Dion Lewis, the MRI showed that he's got a torn ACL. He's out for the season, and this is a guy that I think really had earned some top billing in that Patriots offense. He had become a guy that you had to defend, had to look out for, had to guard against, much like is the case with Rob Gronkowski or Julian Edelman. That's the type of impact player he had evolved into. He made people miss. He made impact plays. He was going to be a major factor for this team as it headed down the stretch with its 7-0 record. And I just think that that's a major loss for New England. LeGarrette Blount would figure to get more touches, maybe some more Brandon Bolden, maybe some more James White. But I think that Dion Lewis was really the most exciting back in that backfield until today.
Schefter, with that kind of ACL injury, likelihood he's back for next season?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the hope. We've seen running backs. I think everybody got spoiled when they saw Adrian Peterson come back, and people forget that he's a super freak, does things that aren't really common. Other people are not as quick to bounce back from ACLs. Everyone's different. And I think it'd be hard not to root for a guy like Dion Lewis, who's had to overcome so much to get to where he is, to come back, and did sign a contract extension earlier this offseason, got a $600,000 bonus at the time. So fortunately, he got a little bit of money at that point in time, and you'd like to see him make it back so he can make even more in the future.
Schefter, are we going to see the league or the Cowboys or anyone at all react to the Greg Hardy pictures? Any repercussions at all?
I don't really get that because, again, when we see the pictures, it's a different thing. If you read the words, the testimony from the court case, and you saw what transpired in that courthouse and heard the judge, those words were the equivalent of the Ray Rice video. They were just words. So people could not react to them the way that you would ordinarily like. But it was incredible to read that and hear about it. And people are reacting now with this renewed outrage, which, again, I get it. We see the pictures, so you're like, whoa. I thought the pictures would be worse. And when you heard the testimony, the judge, the victim, they all said that they thought he was going to kill her. That's what came out of that trial. So what did you think happened in that house?
I completely agree. That's been my reaction.
And the lack of remorse from Greg Hardy throughout the entire situation is incredibly disturbing. He's never really expressed much remorse. Even the other night, Saturday night, when he posted what he did, it was short. It was disingenuous. It was not really apologetic. And basically he expressed appreciation for being able to play football. And he said, give my regards to Hookie Street, which, the best I can tell, Trey Wingo did some research. That's some street in London where there's a lot of illicit activity that goes on. So, I mean, the guy has showed no contrition whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh,
Schefter, you've been really busy today, man. Your Twitter is actually smoking. It's on fire from all the work you've been doing. What's the big story that's going on right now?
Well, again, you got Keith Talib being suspended one game for the eye poke of Dwayne Allen yesterday. You got Stedman Bailey, the Rams wide receiver, being suspended for 4 games. Jonathan Hankins, the Giants defensive tackle, out for the year, torn pec. The Eagles linebacker Jordan Hicks out for the year, torn pec. Rams had a bunch of wide receivers today, like Wes Welker and Akeem Nicks, to work out, with Stedman Bailey getting the suspension. Typical Monday with all the news, not to mention Dion Lewis and Ben Roethlisberger and all the other issues.
All right, Schefter, the most hard-hitting question you'll have of the day.
Get ready. Brace yourself.
Does it bother you to see Mike Ditka in a Packers sweater in those McDonald's commercials?
As long as Mike Ditka is getting paid, I'm good at seeing anything. And he'll do anything like that. As long as the paycheck's good, all's good. And he got paid handsomely, I'm sure, to do that commercial.
Mike Ditka, how much fun do you have with him when you guys are on a set together?
When he's up, we have a lot of fun with him.
Yeah. ESPN's Adam Schefter. Thanks to Death Wish Coffee. Schefter, go do your Twitter thing, man. Go do your reporting thing. You've been breaking news all day. We'll keep an eye on it at Adam Schefter on Twitter. Thanks for everything, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Armen and Levack, have a great week. Thanks for having me.